Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video, we're going to show you how to change out the Maytag dryer drum glide bracket. It's going to be a very easy repair and should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get the new drum glide bracket. The drum glide bracket is what supports the drum glide. The main reason to be changing it out is if the glide and the pad failed and the drum wore all the way through the bracket. In order to get to the part, we have to open up the dryer. First thing we're going to do is lift the top up. We're going to take a putty knife and go about 3.5 inches in and release the spring clip. Once you push it in, you can twist it and lift up on the top, and then we can do the other one. Once you have both the clips released, we can lift the top back and set it against the wall. Now we can take the wires off the door switch. We want to remember where yours go. On ours it's black and yellow, gray, and white. If you have to, you can also use a small screwdriver to help pop the wires off. Sometimes they're on there pretty tight. Now that we have the wires off, we can remove the two 5/16 screws that hold the front panel on. We're going to use our nut driver to take them out. There's one on each side. With those screws out, we can lower the front panel down away from the dryer. It just sits on two mounting tabs at the bottom. All you have to do is lift it off and set it aside. Now that we have the front panel off, we can take the wires off the light socket. All you have to do is take a small flathead screwdriver and pop them off if they're tight. These are two different sizes, so you don't have to worry about where they go. You can just put them back on later. With the wires off, we can take and pull them through this retainer and get them out of the way so we can take the bulkhead off. With the wires off, we can use our 5/16 nut driver to remove these 4 screws that hold the front bulkhead on. When you're removing the last one, make sure you hold the bulkhead so it doesn't fall off. Now that we have all the screws out, we can lift the bulkhead off the drum. Now that we have the bulkhead off, we can set it on the ground so we can work on it. The drum glide bracket, there's one located on each side. If they're worn out, your glides are probably gone and you're going to have to replace those too. The one on this side, in order to get to the screws, you're going to have to remove these 3 screws so you can take this blower housing assembly off. We're going to change the one on this side. In order to get the drum glide off, if yours is still there, all you have to do is press up on the nose of it, rotate it over, and pull it out. Again, because your bracket is probably worn all the way through, your felt is gone, so make sure when you order the glide and the bracket, you get the felt too. Now we can turn it over and remove the screws so we can change the bracket out. To remove the screws, we're going to use a 1/4 inch nut driver to take them out. Once you have the first one out, you may have to hold the bracket underneath while you take the screw out. Here's the old drum glide bracket next to the new one. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. To put the drum glide bracket on, all you have to do is line it up with the holes so you can put the screws through. These screws are going to be a little tighter to put through because they don't actually thread the bracket. So you're going to have to push them through and cut the threads. So maybe a little bit hard to get them going. Now that we have the bracket on, we can turn the bulkhead over. Your felt is probably missing, so you're going to have to put a new one on. Make sure you peel the adhesive backing off and stick it to the middle of the bracket. Once you have that on, you can put your new glide on, since your old one's probably going to be gone, obviously. All you have to do is hook it into the bracket, rotate it over, and then feed it down so the tip goes into the other side of the bracket. Once you have this one rebuilt, you can do the one on the other side. Once you have them both installed, we can put the bulkhead back on the dryer. You want to line up the blower duct housing and push it on. Once you have that on, you may have to lift up the drum a little bit so the glides go underneath it. You also have to make sure that these tabs go into these little holes on each side, and that'll help you line up the screw holes. And you can set it down and push the bulkhead on all the way so the drum rests on the seal. Then we can put the screws back in that hold it on. To reconnect the wires, first we have to route them through the little wire holder, and then we can plug them back in. Remember, there are two different sizes. The yellow one goes on the bottom and the gray one goes on top. With the wires hooked up, we can put the front panel back on. To put the front panel back on, all you have to do is set it down on those two mounting brackets at the bottom of the machine. Once you have them both on, we can swing the panel up and put the screws back in that hold it in place. Now that we have the front panel back on, we can reconnect the wires to the door switch. All you have to do is reconnect the wires in the same order you took them off. Ours was the white one here, the gray one was in the middle, and the black and yellow one was on this one. With the front panel back on, we can lower the top down. On this particular model, there's 4 locating pins that you have to make sure the top goes down onto before you snap it into place. So we're going to lower it down and line up the pins. Once you have them lined up, you can push the panel down and lock it in place. Now that you're done repairing the appliance, you can plug it back in and give it a spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.